So America is actually a corruption of Amaurican. Now, in the Asiatic world, and this is another thing when you begin to recognize, even with a lot of scholars. Now, Ivan Van Sertima, he was at Temple. So after he did his lecture, I went and talked to him and everything. You know what he said to me? Because, I hit him with not only some of his other writings, but also we were talking about some of his other colleagues, and particularly some of the European scholars, professors, etc., PhDs, and other so-called black leader guys who were countering him and really not supporting certain positions. And I said to Ivan, well, look, why don't you just be blunt and tell these people that they're Moors? Why beat all around the bush and then argue about your colleagues not agreeing with you? He said, because they'll deport me. Because they will deport him. I just want y'all to know that. That's our personal conversation. I said, oh, I could just do that. I just want you to say it. But the point of it is, the solution is really going to come from you all. And I know that part of the area that we really have to say honestly with us, is language. You cannot give history without knowing law. And this is you've got to understand this. You really got to understand this. And we have to remove egos from this. We have to remove self from this as far as the ego or the vanity is concerned, and understand that everything that we do ultimately is for the universal mind, the universal mother. And understand this, when we say Allah, that means all universal law. It's not a man, it's not a woman, it's a spirit. It's a spirit of the collective mind, but yet it is absolutely you. The deal is when you start looking outside of yourself for some principle that you call contemporarily, and understand contemporarily God, you've actually turned it off. Because God is a transitive verb. It's not a noun. And this is another thing when you talk about history and anthropology and sociology, if you don't know the origin of certain things, you don't know when you got off the track. Now let me clarify myself. The Asiatics, particularly in the North Gate, Masonically, the North Gate is North America. And so when you see the Shriners or the keepers of the North Gate, you're the shrine, and they've been keeping you. You're under wardship tenures. All right, so you got to understand what that is. I'm just breaking it down like it is, cutting through the chase. Ain't no signs, ain't no symbols, ain't no mystery. We don't deal with that kind of stuff. We deal with allodial thinking, which is superior to freedom. All right? Just allodial, A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L. That's the superior to freedom, just like a plebiscite is superior to a vote. Yet they appear to be synonymous. You understand? So our issue is that we are spiritual soldiers. We are battling principalities and powers, knowing that we're stepping on toes and knowing that they're trying to step on ours. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But not being concerned, because in war there's losses. When you fear death, you lost the war. So understand how I come at you. I don't come at you playing games. I just say it like it is. But I try to give you points, references, vital reference points that I know some of you are familiar with, and then others that some of you as scholars are familiar with, so that you can have a point of reference to put the shattered mirror together, to approach the spirit man to wake you up. That's all. All right? It's not a charge. It is only for you to know yourself. And that comes from our mother. All right, so that's all my job is, nothing else. With all my faults and all my cheap sneaks and the rest of it. So understand where I'm coming from, and when we get into question and answer period, ask what you think. Don't cut no corners, because it ain't no ego here. All right? We're about fixing stuff. But the first thing we got to do is clean our own diapers. Because we've been complaining about the Europeans' diapers for a long time. But we made him. So who's the biggest devil? So we need to understand this. No, let's get real. Because if you're going to fix things, you must take responsibility. All right? See, we made Frankenstein, been running ever since, lost the knowledge of ourselves. He's been running the house, and we've been running in circles. Because we ain't going nowhere. We just run in circles with spinning wheels, talking about how safe we are, while we praying over the dead that he didn't just kill. The rest of them he put in jail. But we saved. Oh. Anyhow, so let's stop that. And let's start getting real, right? Let's start fixing things, right? So now let's say this. Let's come like it is. To understand American history, you must know world history. I'm going to throw at you some reference points, particularly sisters are writing, because this is how we do. Anyway, round tables, come with a pen and pencil, because that's how we roll. We have limited time, so I'll give you reference points, vital reference points, because this is one of the things that the Inquisitionists did in order to throw you off track. Now, study the Punic Wars. Study the Battle of Tours, 732, near Poitiers, France.
Say that again, Battle of
Tours, T-O-U-R-S. When you look up Charlemagne, Pepin the Great, Charles Martel, nickname in European history, he's Charles the Hammer. That's the most important world war. The most important world war you'll find when you go in Europe, amongst European countries. The most important world war is 732 Battle of Tours. Stop, brother, speak up loud.
Yes, because if we had won that war, the whole world would be
all
right now.
Exactly. Of course, you already know the karmic debt. Now, that's another thing.
Right.
So, the karmic debt.
What was he saying?
The Battle of Tours, near Poitiers, France, is the world's most important war. Means that's the most important and most active world war. Now remember, the subject matter is American history. Now notice the context. It's not what you get in school. Because American history is actually world history. They won't tell you that because that's a Masonic secret. You understand? But here, there ain't no secrets. You see? So, don't think that I'm just going to talk about George Jefferson, George Washington, and all them guys, and John Hanson being the first president of the United States, but there's 7 before him under the Continental Congress. So actually you have a string of 14 before Georgie was appointed to the palace.
So I said Peyton Randolph.
Huh?
So I said Peyton Randolph. Peyton Randolph.
Yes. But they weren't presidents of the United States. They were presidents of the Continental Congress. The first president of the United States was John Hanson. All right, so you must know the history and the politics and the treaties and the build-up before that came about so that you can make that distinction. Other than that, you get tracked and you get tricked. Because it wasn't 14 presidents. They were all presidents, but they all weren't presidents of the United States. George Washington represents when the Moors brought the Negroes into government proper for real.
Say that again.
George Washington, 1789, April the 30th, represents when the Moors officially, meaning after we've gone through all the trials, tribulations, preliminary works, etc., treaties, etc., and after the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Marrakesh, on the Sultan Sidi Muhammad, Sultan of Morocco, when we brought the Negroes into government. And you must understand the Negroes are the Europeans, the Negroes are not you. You're the white man. This is no reason why you can't fix history, because they traded places with you. This is why we're asleep. This is why you can't fix anything. Because you keep casting spells back on yourself. That's why you can't fix anything, son.
Just right quick. White man, the White House was named after
Loud.
us. The White House was named after us, like we named the White House. Being that
No,
we-
Casablanca. Just like you said, a movie Casablanca, it's actually here. They show it in Morocco, but Morocco's actually here.
Right.
And Casablanca, the white